Okay. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check. Whoops. Does that look right? Does that look right? Let me see. That's about as good as it gets. All right. What's up, everybody? You're watching the Corner Show with HT, aka High Thing of the Chicago Black Delegation podcast or the Chicago Black Delegation YouTube channel. And as you all probably know from past streams, normally there's a 4-man show. Well, normally it's supposed to be a 4-man show, but some weeks I'm just gonna do it myself. So I titled these the Corner Show, where I pretty much go over some things that mean a lot to me, especially, and a lot of messages that I want to get out to the public and stuff like that. Mostly focus on my interpretation of things, my perspective. But otherwise, it's for the most part going to go the same way as most of our other live shows, where gonna run a couple of videos. I'm gonna be most likely gonna be doing it. I'm gonna be introing, outroing every segment. Introing and outroing every segment. If I when I outro, how it's gonna go is I will play a video. I'm sorry. I will intro a video and watch it, react to it, and then afterwards, I'm going to outro that segment, right? But just because I'm outroing that segment does not mean I'm going to be outroing or I'll be ending the stream. So we're going to be going through about 3 videos today, and I'm likely going to take a small break, and then and then afterwards I'm gonna start another stream where I want to be going over Trump's executive orders. I'm going to try to go through as many of them as I can. I think it's about 67 so far, and I want to read all of them. So that's going to be a completely different show called my study session. That's what I'm gonna call it that. And like I said, it's gonna be something completely different from what we're doing here. But again, right now we're gonna be talking about the topics at hand. This Kendrick Lamar stuff. Some things that's been happening out there in Cleveland. I'm pretty sure it was Cleveland, right? Let me check. I'm pretty sure it was Cleveland. Let's see. Wait. Check. What we gonna see anyway? Hold on. I know it happened in Ohio. I don't remember if it was Cleveland or just Ohio neo-Nazis messed around. Found out. Yeah. Let me see. I mean, I'm gonna let y'all watch with me. Hold on. How do this? There we go. Neo-Nazis messed around and found out for the killing. Oh, this is something different. Charged with killing. Oh, this is some other stuff. This is a bunch of extra stuff. What's going on here, bro? Okay, here we go. Armed neo-Nazis get police. Wait, what? After armed neo-Nazis get police protection. Y'all heard about this. Some black residents in Ohio expressed disbelief. Yeah, I remember that. Authorities defended their actions after a dozen or so people in black clothing displayed Nazi flags and symbolism at a demonstration on the freeway bridge in north of Cincinnati. Okay. So yeah, it's north of Cincinnati. It wasn't Cleveland. I was wrong. It was north of Cincinnati, around like a black neighborhood. So I was wrong. That's why this is why we go ahead and check this stuff out. So we probably just go ahead and watch this one, and we probably react to this instead of what I had in mind. Anyway, so that's pretty much the gist of like the show, how I conduct the show. Like I said, just gonna react to a few different things, then give my spin on it, spin on things. Might talk a little bit about what's ahead. I'll get that out the way now. Then, so some of y'all might, I don't know, some of y'all might know, some of y'all might not know. Anybody that's been following the channel, have probably seen that we released a video of my conversation with Fanatic, and it was a conversation that happened a while ago, and I'm just now getting down to uploading it. It's a lot of personal stuff that's been kind of going on, so I apologize for that. But for the most part, yeah, it's just me and him kind of going over more or less the same conversation, but it's a lot faster. Like the original conversation about over 2 hours. This one I kind of condensed it down to about about an hour and 30 minutes, I believe. So it's like heavily condensed to more of the important parts of the conversation. Still a pretty dope conversation in my opinion. So I appreciate everybody, giving it a like and clicking on and watching it and whatnot. But it's more so just a learning experience for me, and a lot of the stuff that's gonna be talked about in that video, I'm gonna be putting in action and putting in practice. From like here on out, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So that aside, there's gonna be another conversation I'm gonna have with that I'm gonna be uploading tomorrow with me and MTR. And that one's already that one was a pretty interesting conversation. So I definitely want you guys to check that one out. It is I guess a kind of a preview, not a preview, but like a teaser of it is just basically me and him having a conversation about race relations and the victimhood mindset. So I think a lot of people probably find that conversation pretty interesting, to say the least. Otherwise, yeah, and it's not too long. It's only about 30 minutes. So watch it at 2 times speed, watch it at 1.5 times speed. You'll get through it a lot faster. But all that aside, yeah, we can pretty much get to the show for the most part. Again, this is the Corner Show. This is me up here telling y'all expressing my ideas, expressing my opinions, and knowing and please understand that my thoughts and my opinions are going to be coming from the perspective of somebody that is, I would say, black centered, black focused, and it's not necessarily to the detriment of other cultures and other communities, but it's more so just putting ourselves, like making sure that our people are good too. You feel me? Because a lot of what's going on is a lot of individualism that's going on, and it's acting towards the detriment of our communities and our culture as a whole. So like here, I mean, you see right behind me, SYCBM. This is my general outlook, my general ideology, and I do want to start reacting to other SYCBM people, but a lot of what I want to do here is take a lot of conversations that is had across the space, across the net, across YouTube, and beyond, and attack the conversations from a SYCBM like mindset. You feel me? Like take it from a perspective of like a community building mindset. And it's not necessarily, I mean, mind you, yes, it is a black focused channel, but at the same time, my ideals is obviously more so geared towards community upliftment and community building. And I think everybody can benefit from that type of perspective. I think the only people that's gonna like really hate this type of a channel, the people that's gonna really hate this type of a channel is like individualists and essentially people that just want your money. You know what I mean? But without further ado, let's get into some of these videos that I want to react to. This is Kendrick Lamar thing. Let me just go to the right timestamp for a second. I was had this done before the game, before the show started. Okay. Okay. So again, I'm the intro in the song. I'm gonna intro the show, and then I'm gonna outro. I'm gonna give my reaction, and then I'm gonna give my outro to the segment. Again, that does not mean I'm outroing or I'm ending the stream. It just mean I'm moving on to the next segment until I end the stream. Anyway, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. I'm your host HT, aka High Thingo, with the Corner Show. And today's show, I'm gonna be discussing a lot of what's been going on regarding the Kendrick Lamar's halftime performance. And there's been a lot of different opinions regarding it. There's been good opinions. There's been bad opinions. There's been perspectives from Black Americans. There's been perspectives from non-Black Americans. And it's weird, but like a lot of the times you can kind of categorize. It's almost as if you can categorize. You can come up with probably 5 or maybe 10 top categorical or perspectives you can kind of come from, and everybody's gonna pretty much agree on one of those very limited perspectives. But for the most part, Black people seem to like by and large, Black people seem to like the performance, albeit for different reasons. Now, there's gonna be some that liked it because of the entertainment. They are Kendrick Lamar fans, or they maybe there's a fan of rap or something like that, or maybe from somebody like my perspective, somebody like me, we probably liked it for the way it made us think, the way that we get to essentially pick apart and find different type of I guess Easter eggs and stuff like that to help show us more of the story of what Kendrick Lamar was trying to show us during the halftime performance. A lot of people kind of look past that, and they got to the point where they came up with anti-Kendrick, let's say not responsible, but opinions, especially I guess pretty much limited themselves to what was it was basically a bunch of Drake people or Drake stands, stuff like that. Honestly, man, for the OVOs out there, listen. If OVOs perspectives and I guess MAGA perspectives also, as far as I'm concerned, those people don't exist. You feel me? So if anybody that says, for those perspectives that's out there that's trying to say, and we're gonna watch one of those today too. But for those perspectives that just said, this is some DEI shit, or this is something that wasn't entertaining and stuff like that. Again, it's either gonna come from a MAGA nigga, or I'm sorry, a MAGA supporter, or OVO. You know what I mean? And listen, again, I don't acknowledge those people's existence because they don't have brains that they own. With that aside, I personally think it was dope, to say the least. I mean, even at service level, as far as the performance as the performance of what it was, a lot of people didn't like it for pretty decent reasons. The audio was I'm hearing consistent complaints about the audio, and which was interesting. I mean, I don't know. I went to my aunt's house and we said turn up the volume. And then we was cool, you feel me? But other people had a problem with the audio, and whatever. It is what it is. But you can listen to it on YouTube right now, the entire performance, and it looks good to me. You know what I mean? It don't seem to be concerning anymore. It doesn't seem to be concerning anymore, and at least in the YouTube video. But outside of that, I mean, there was a lot of GNX songs. I mean, I guess a lot of people have not. I guess GNX's album hasn't been out long enough to people to grow a strong affinity to that track, to those songs and stuff like that, which is what it is. But I don't know. I like GNX, so I wasn't too much tripping about him playing a lot of those songs. But yeah, a lot of people want to hear a lot of Mad City, Good Kid, Mad City. They want to hear Pimp a Butterfly songs, stuff like that. It is what it is. That's everybody's opinion or whatever. So I will, but I will give them. Will give people credit for that aspect of it. Like it's very subjective, and I think there's a lot to appreciate about his halftime performance outside of those subjective matters. But again, we want to make it a subjective conversation by all means. But outside of that, I don't know. There was a lot to unpack there. You know what I mean? And I know it's the one thing that I learned from listening to Kendrick Lamar and watching his music videos and stuff like that is that the bro drops like hidden messages a lot, And I'm not. And listen, I heard what what's that dude name? Damon Wayne said about I know what he did. I know what he said about this overly analytical brothers and stuff like that. I get it. Like some dudes some guys definitely go overboard with their analytical skills and stuff like that. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say, man. I actually like the idea of people taking art and finding picking things apart, even though they might be wrong. You know what I'm saying? I still like the creativity and where people's minds can kind of take what Kendrick Lamar performed that night. So I mean, it's just like a lot of abstract art. A lot of people just see different things when it comes to art. And I think that's something we all should be able to appreciate from art. Especially, but I would say especially when a lot of the messaging is intended, because a lot of black art is especially like intended to deliver a message that is supposed to inspire. If they're supposed to inspire like political shifts and political discourse and stuff like that. And Kendrick Lamar's performance definitely did that. So I very much so very much so appreciate something like that. I go so far as to say that his performance. I want to say that. I'll go as far as to say the message, which is the revolution. The revolution will be televised. You know what I'm saying? The 40 acres and the mule, so on and so forth. I mean, pretty much everything, everything we hear. Uncle Sam, aka Samuel L. Jackson, say during his little bits and stuff like that. That stuff like far exceeded the importance of our entertainment. That's a little bit of a hot take. I get it. I know. Don't throw tomatoes at me yet, but that's just how I feel about it. I think when we have entertainers doing what they're supposed to do, and that's delivering inspiring messages that can shift the political climate and stuff like that, and bring things to light that most people, most Americans won't even be thinking about. I think he did a great. Then I will give him great praise for that. I think again, I believe that type of a messaging, that type of political activism is much more important than our personal entertainment, our subjective entertainment. So I think a lot of people, a lot of the comments, a lot of TikTok and stuff like that, TikTokers have been commenting on just exactly that. So, but anyway, without further ado, I want to go ahead and start playing some of these videos and see what these people have to say about Kendrick Lamar's performance.
Things I could say about Kendrick Lamar's halftime show, and it's the only reason that I watched the Super Bowl. But the one thing that sticks out to me is when he said, "You can rig the game, but you can't fake influence." Not sure a lot.
So I want to stop right there. You can rig the game, but you can't fake influence. There's a couple things that stick out to me regarding that quote. Basically, he's pointing out what was that? What was that thing that happened? So this is as far as rigging the game. This is about the bots. Okay, for everybody that may need to know a little bit more about what he's talking about as far as how does bots and how you rig a game? What does he mean by that? It's all about the algorithm and how you influence the algorithm. So we all kind of know. I don't know. Maybe a lot of us don't know, but I'll give you here's the tea. Here's the sauce. Here's the tea in the meantime. Basically, it's all about the bots. For everybody that doesn't know, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, a lot of stuff. Like the whole goal, right, is to get the views up, right? I always understand it's all about views and getting garnering and getting people's attention. Now, there's a few different ways that you can influence the algorithm or whatever system, whatever like the system that each individual platform wants to name this system. But for right now, we would call it the algorithm, like the system of which is essentially drives each and every individual content to be pushed out to a larger audience, right? It's all boils down to engagement. Hold on a second. Why does this name click off? Hold on. I gotta turn this video back on. I'm gonna have to learn how to keep this thing on. Okay, there we go. All right. So, like I was saying, it's all about those views. You know what I'm saying? So basically, what needs to happen is, in order to get views, right, you need to influence the algorithm. You need to influence the platform that you're sharing your content to push your algorithm to a larger audience, right? So in order to do that, you are going to have to show that particular platform that your video is interesting. Now, how you do that is by getting up your engagements. That's why all these YouTubers are going to be saying, hey, like and share and subscribe and comment. They will ask you a question in the middle of the video for you to just inspire you to leave a comment and stuff like that. Like all of that stuff. They're doing all that stuff to drive up the engagement because it's showing the platform that your video is interesting, right? So when you drive up your videos engagement, or I'm sorry, when the audience drives up your videos engagement, then I will inspire the platform to up your what's that word called? Your impressions. So your impressions, I probably need to be showing you this stuff too, but your impressions is basically what's it's like the number. It's the number that okay, its number, it reflects how many people your content was shown to, right? So if all you people on TikTok, it's like your For You page, right? Everybody that's on YouTube, it's your home page. Also, it can be your like suggested videos or the videos that's gonna come right after. Like every time you see a video, on at all for that matter, that number will be added to every content creator's impressions. So this is what you got to do. This is what these regarding Kendrick Lamar and talking about the rigging the game and stuff like that. A lot of people rig the game by hold on a second. I don't know why this thing keeps coming off. Oops, wrong button. There we go. So again, a lot of people. So Kendrick Lamar, in reference to him talking about rigging the game, the way you would influence the algorithm the way you would rig the game, and so to speak, in this context, is you are essentially doing what you got to do. You're influencing the algorithm to up the engagement. So that's why you get a lot of bots. That's why you see so many bots in these different comment sections saying a bunch of weird little bot things with these half-naked videos and stuff like that, linking themselves to other type of weird content and stuff like that. Like you click on a bot, it could be a sexual picture, it could be some kind of Bitcoin picture, something like that. You click on that bot, it will likely lead you to like some sort of advertisement to a whole nother weird site or whatever like that. That's one of the ways you can tell a bot from a real person. But regardless, essentially they'll swarm these platforms or their content with bots that's gonna leave comments, they're gonna leave fake likes. They're gonna everything you need to do to drive up the engagement of a video, so that this platform is inspired, right, to up your impressions, right, up the number of people that it will show your content in front of, right. So and that's what a lot of what Drake was trying to. accused Kendrick of doing. Like they were saying they was using bots to up the it was Drake was trying to like this is all part of that lawsuit. Drake is saying that UMG use bots and things like that and pay other types of paid services to drive up the impressions the engagement and impressions of Not Like Us and probably even Euphoria and the other songs as well. So let me just do this real quick because this thing is squeaking. Okay, well. So like I said, he was using that stuff to so again Drake was accusing UMG of using bots and other paid services to drive up the engagements and to drive up the impressions of Not Like Us and probably the other Kendrick Lamar disses. And Kendrick Lamar is saying, hey, that like that the rigging the game is part. How do you say it? He said you can rig the game, but you can't fake influence. I mean, hey, it's it do. I'm not gonna lie, it do sound like that he's leaving it. Okay. There's two ways you can take this. Is it Grace? The most charitable way of interpreting that is he's leaving it up for interpretation, right? he's not necessarily saying, hey, I didn't that I'm not saying he's not denying what UMG possibly did to drive up the engagement or drive up the influence, let's just go with engagement and impressions of Not Like Us and the other disses. But he's also saying that, hey, what came along with that song was the influence. Like people love the piss out of those disses, especially Not Like Us. But yeah, the worst, the least charitable way of interpreting that is he's saying that he's agreeing that it's flat out. I got to be honest about it. He could be saying right that yes, UMG did buy these bots. They did all of this stuff, and that's a significant reason why this song has reached the level that it has reached, right? However, again, you have to give even the most vindicated and the most steadfast of the OV hoes will have to admit that song had hella influence, had everybody screaming A minor, had everybody calling Drake a PDF file. I don't even like saying PDF file. It sounds retarded, but I don't know how else can we really say it. That's what that's he like what else can you say? He shifted the language. He shifted the cultural YouTube or content creator language. He got everybody saying that Drake is a culture vulture and all this stuff. He got all these type of rappers making remixes. Like he shifted, that influence shifted the culture very significantly. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just saying, like, what's that man named Drake? How he really said, like, Family Matters, push-ups, everything that Drake drops is gonna be like damn near like goated. Like it's gonna be wildly popular. You know what I mean? So to assume that like it's only because of the bots that the Kendrick Lamar diss and Not Like Us and Euphoria has reached the level that it has. It's not the only reason. Like, come on, let's be realistic about it. Drake's song, like Family Matters, would be if Family Matters was better than if Family Matters was a better song than Not Like Us, then we trust me, it would have been out there. You wouldn't even. I argue to say Drake don't even really need bots like that because it's. Like the way the algorithm and like these different type of content, these content platforms like do things. Like if you have subscribers alone, like I think Drake is well over millions of subscribers. That subscriber base alone would carry like all of his content into like superstar status. You know what I'm saying? But we ain't got to go. I don't have to go too far on that to be honest. But just. I really want to stop on that part because it was like a very, very important part of this conversation. So let's go. Let's keep going though.
A lot of people understood a lot of the things that he said because he is, as a lot of people have said, he's a messenger. He's a lyricist. He's not an entertainer. And a lot of Americans are looking for mindless fucking entertainment. So a lot of people were bored by it. It's like the biggest thing I've seen is people saying that they were bored.
So, oops, I keep pressing the wrong button. So yeah, and this goes to what I said earlier about being like bored and stuff like that. Again, I'm gonna make this one really brief. This is how I feel about it. Okay, it might be a hot take, but look, you see this? This is SYCBM. This is Save Your Culture Black Male. My perspective is always gonna be a message or a thought provoking message that can be used to influence everybody's perspective so that it can act political change and I guess fan the fires of civil distress or unrest and inspire people to get up out of their seats and make things happen. Those type of messages will always be of more value, of greater worth than our individual entertainment, our subjective entertainment. You know what I'm saying? So and I mean, again, this is not even a specific talking point of SYCBM. This is actually just something that community focused people should be utilizing in their own mantras, in their own everyday lives. So that's just how I feel about it. I don't know how y'all feel about it. So okay.
Well, maybe you should fix your entertainment addiction. I don't know. He also said the 40 acres and a mule. And if you don't know what that is, you should get a history lesson. And I really love that.
So real quick about the 40 acres and a mule. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be pausing a lot. Just bear with me, but this is gonna be really brief. But the 40 acres and a mule thing is this is in reference to what was promised to American freedmen or emancipated people, emancipated black slaves, especially black slaves. I don't know. I don't think it. Well, this is whatever. Anyway, the 40 acres and a mule thing was promised to emancipated people after the Emancipation Proclamation. Promised them 40 acres and a mule for their essential suffrage of not being able to, of unpaid labor in here in America. And what was interesting about this performance from Kendrick Lamar was the ridiculous amount of people. I'm gonna show the chart above my head when I, after I'm done editing. It's like when I re-upload this for its individual content. But the search history, the search of 40 Acres and a Mule was staggering after that Super Bowl performance, and I think that says a lot. I think that says something that I think that says something about our education system. And I think this is something that really needed to happen in order for especially Black Americans to be able to help everybody understand about what was stripped from us as a people. You know, what I mean? What was stripped from our ancestors that we all could have been benefiting from today. Like I don't have to remind y'all of how much of a driving force real estate is into wealth building and such like that. But that's but it's like the biggest thing. It's like the biggest thing right now. Just know that. Now with that said, now that everybody not everybody obviously, but for those people that just simply didn't know, and now they know, I think that's a really big I think that's a big first step, if nothing else. Because like the education part is just like, that's something that we all can that we all should have understood coming to the table. And for those, because the problem is, I think the big problem in conversations is a lot of people try to join in on the conversation while being uneducated. So it just kind of holds like the smart people back from like actual solution crafting. If we all have to educate all of the the uneducated and stuff like that and get them like up to speed about what the current happenings are, that will Kendrick Lamar and other type of performance bringing the message to the table, to the forefront, is essentially something that we could all, will benefit from. Like what else that there's no other way of like slicing it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, with that aside, let's go back into what she was saying. But yeah, like I said, the 40 Acres and a Mule thing, yeah, we definitely needed that to be a bit. We definitely needed those type of people to. When I say those type of people, let's say the uneducated, the ones like we definitely need as many people possible, as many people humanly possible to understand what 40 acres and a mule is, and then maybe we can start introducing the conversation about the FHA loans, the Homestead Acts, the GI Bill, and all these other things, so that maybe people will like understand, like, okay, you know what, maybe there is a relevant conversation. I mean, maybe this reparations claim is a relevant conversation. So let's keep going.
Quote, even above the revolution will be televised, because what he was getting at there, if you didn't realize, is that the game has been rigged against the Black community since day one that their ancestors stepped onto this land. Even with the way that the system has been rigged, the Black community has had the largest influence on our culture in this country. I especially love that in the month of February, we are talking about this, and having the Black community is having a renaissance. This is their renaissance. The fact that we are
I actually agree with that. Black people having a renaissance. I actually do believe that. It's between that and the Nazi thing. What's that, man? Drake and the Drake beef and stuff like that, and this whole thing that's going on. Like, Black people are really in the news right now, and I think we can definitely use this time to really inspire people politically. You know, we can't just make it all about it. We have to be. It has to be intentional, though. It definitely has to be intentional. That's why, like, I implore all these podcasters to like start introducing community focused like thought into their dialogue, you know, into their content. We don't have to make all these contents about relationships and all this other corny shit. We can start talk. We need to start strategizing community focused upliftment projects as well. We got to get outside and get our hands dirty. You feel me? So that's real brief about that one.
Are really talking about the influences of Black culture and how many of the things that we love today stem from their genius and their creativity and the influences they have had on our society.
What did you discuss with the Holy Father in that final meeting?
See the most astonishing performances of the year in hands down the best.
So I don't know what, I couldn't agree more with that lady. So yeah, let me see. The Renaissance, the inspiring the culture, like that culture thing is like serious. Like folks have no idea. I'm always talking to a lot of different people. Trying to adopt as many different perspectives as possible. Trying to lock down a lot of talking points, especially the interesting talking points. One thing I heard a white guy say, actually, right, and this is interesting. He said that I think the question was posed as I guess the topic of conversation, it was is Black American culture like problematic, or is it toxic or something like that? And one of the white dudes actually said that no. I think somebody tried to say Black Americans have no culture. From that was a conversation, and then somebody said that Black Americans don't have culture. Now we heard Kai Cenat say something to that effect. Other what FBAs will call tethers will say that those tethers again will say that we have no culture, whatever. But what this guy said is, this white man said was, hey, Black people are a significant part of American culture. Like when you, he went as far as to say they are the leaders. We are the leaders of culture, knowing that. I think his reasoning was when you go to these concerts and you look at the audience, you just see a sea of white people. You know what I mean? And that makes a lot. I mean, I don't know. There's not much other way to slice it. Like, some of my favorite rappers, Lupe Fiasco, Nas, Jay-Z, a little bit of Jan, maybe less so Jay-Z, but like DMX, like a whole bunch of people. Like, they even like the newer guys, like the Travis Scotts and it's fun. I'm kind of old here, so I can't remember all the new names. But regardless, like, yeah, these new entertainers and rappers, stuff like that, yeah, they have a significant white audience. You know what I mean? And he was I don't know to say he was actually right. But I want to add one more I want to add one more point to that to say that it's not just excuse me. It's not just the fact that we are like talented through our, with rap and stuff like that, and even all the genres of music for that matter. But it's also what needs to be placed into consideration is our population density, right? Like we only make up 14% of the United States population. Like we are a significant minority, but at the same time, we are very well represented in all these different types of sports, in music, and a bunch of different things. And it's not even no DEI bullshit. We actually it's been this way for long before DEI, long before affirmative action. You know what I'm saying? It's just it's black people are just really talented at the things that we put our minds to. So I really did appreciate that guy's perspective on that, because it definitely inspired me to. It definitely got me thinking about it and had me thinking about it helped me add on to the conversation, because I think that population density is a significant part of how it's a significant reason, not a significant reason, but it is an important I'm trying to brain fart real quick. The population, the conversation of population density is a very important element to that conversation. Like if we're such a lower minority, but we make up so much of the audience, or so much of the population that is talented in these different types of fields, I think that speaks a lot to our creativity. Let's see here, 10:52. All right, so let's see what this lady has to say.
Many, many, many years ago, a person in my life who is no. Many, many, many years ago, a person in my life who is no longer in my life, but is now MAGA, right? That didn't exist back then. But we were at a museum looking at art, and it became clear very quickly that in her mind, the only function of art is to be beautiful. That's it. There is.
So yeah, real quick. So there's a lot of people out there that truly do believe that the only purpose of art is for our enjoyment, right? And she's gonna go further into detail about it, so I'm not gonna bore y'all to death. I'm not gonna bore you. Hold on a second. I was pressing the wrong button there. Yeah, so I'm not gonna bore y'all to death as far as my spin on this topic or this talking piece, but yeah. So like I said, art is to be interpreted in multiple different ways, and it's not just for our I guess jimmies or our feelings for us to uplift our emotions like that. Some things is gonna be some artists create to inspire thought, to inspire political change, to inspire sadness, like so on and so forth. Like I mean, I think real briefly, like one of the genres of movies that I always disliked was like horror. You know what I mean? Because I never understood the whole aspect of like, why would I watch something to be angry? I mean, to be scared, or like Lifetime shows, right? Like, why would I watch something to be sad? Why would I watch something to cry? Why would I watch, I don't know, anything to feel anything outside of like joy and like cool anime fights or whatever, right? And like, I mean, some people, but I think there's something to gain from like all these different type of genres. You know what I mean? Like some people enjoy that thrill of being afraid. You know what I mean? That's why we go, that's probably a reason why people go to a roller coaster and stuff like that. They like that adrenaline, that rush and stuff like that. So there's just multiple ways of enjoying like art and things of that nature. So I think that's something people need to put in perspective before they immediately write something off. You know, everything needs to be judged by the intentions, right? That was by the intentions of the artist himself. So
no other function of art. Like if you have to think about it or if it's even remotely ugly, she completely dismissed its value. And she was like, why would anyone want to look at art that's not beautiful? And I'm like, and I loved my art history classes in college. And so I'm trying in earnest to help her understand why art isn't just to be pretty and to make us happy. Now, here's the point. The halftime show is just another example of people like her, who we now have a term for them. We call them MAGA or MAGA.
And OVOs, like those people exist too.
And that is, they don't want to think.
I got to take that back. You know what? The MAGA don't want to think, but the OVOs want to think as hard as they can to make Kendrick Lamar seem irrelevant. That's there you go. That's the difference between the OVOs and the MAGAs. There we go. Y'all not the same people. I apologize, OVOs.
They only want a thing to be the thing. If it's beyond that, they get angry and they get mad and they get frustrated. So last night, all the halftime show for someone with that kind of brain, all it's meant to do is sing and dance and entertain. That's it. Anything beyond that is too much for their little brains. And not only is it too much, it makes them mad. It pisses them off that they have to think, that they have to go, ooh, is there like a deeper message to this? Now, I think he did a really good job of making some of the messages not so obtuse that it gets lost. I think some of it was maybe a little obvious. I don't know. But they don't like that. They don't, especially when it comes to Black and brown people, don't do anything other than entertain me, give me a good experience, and then you go off and do your thing.
So real quick. So that type of like rhetoric, that perspective, right? Now she's observing the perspective manager, but the perspective that she's speaking to is essentially just narcissist type of personality traits. You know what I mean? The aspect of like dismissing everybody's overall, like dismissing everybody's, not everybody's, but dismissing the artist's or the performer's intentions, right? Like what they like, the message they're trying to convey, and reduce literally everything that these individuals reduce, like these individuals let me try this again. But to reduce everything that these MAGA people like take in as far as everything around them, especially performance, as it needs to entertain me or it needs to end, right? That speaks to the narcissism within those individuals. You know what I mean? I know we all use the word narcissist a little bit too loosely. I get it, but like the selfish individualism within these people. As people, we need to learn how to be empathetic. We have to learn how to adopt other people's perspectives so we gain understanding, right? We can't just go around and say, "Oh, this isn't to my liking," because I didn't get up and start dancing. Like, listen, there's a lot of reasons why you didn't get up and start dancing. A lot of it's to do is you're not coached enough to you're not cultured in Kendrick Lamar's music to learn to know how to appreciate it. I mean, that's kind of how a lot of stuff kind of just works. You know what I mean? The more you listen to a song, the more you kind of like it a lot of the time. Like the affinity towards that song essentially grows. But of course, you got to like it to begin with. But that aside, when we learn how to, again, to throw away our own like selfish desires of being entertained and stuff like that, and being more open to the perspectives and the intended message of these entertainers and just other people in general, like especially in conversations, then yeah, we'll start learn how those are the building blocks. That's like the starting point of us, like, I don't know, learning, getting along with each other, right? So that's just how I kind of view that type of what she's saying here.
They don't want any black or brown person to actually challenge us or cause us to think or to wonder or to ask questions or to no. And they would see doing that at a halftime show as extremely inappropriate to do, because your job is to just entertain us. So anyway.
So yeah, so that's pretty much the end of that. Well, that's pretty much what I wanted her to say from there. So that's all I wanted to kind of react to regarding what she just said there. But yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? That she's absolutely, I mean, she's on the money. Like, these people don't want to hear it, and they don't want to hear it because it's not. I would argue to say it's not just for the sake of entertainment. I think some of the people, especially the ones that do know, because there's those individuals that don't know, and because they were never exposed to these types of conversations, because because of the education, because the government didn't want them to know, you know how that kind of goes. I don't blame people for their ignorance, right? It's just a bad practice to essentially be angry at somebody over their own ignorance. Just educate them or don't, and then move on. You feel me? But those that do know, right, were in attendance, and they have spoken up. You know what I mean? And those are the worst types of people. Like, those are the people that don't want the stuff to get out there. They'll say everything they have to essentially discredit the message, to dismiss the message, to make not even acknowledge the message to begin with, so on and so forth, because they don't want the message to spread. They don't want people asking the scary questions that could essentially chip away at the status quo, and that's what that Kendrick Lamar performance did. Like, and that's why how else can I really say it? That's why I put it as high on the pedestal as I do right now. A lot of my friends will try to say, there's been some really interesting jokes that my friends threw at me. You feel me? And I'll give them credit for that. But for the most part, my position is not just that I'm a Kendrick Lamar fan, but it's the message that needed to be. It's the message that needed to be stated on that platform. Hate it. I know there's a whole bunch of Cash Money millionaire fans out there, and all these other people, all types of people that can be watching this show, this video. But I'm just saying, Lil Wayne would not have got on that stage and said the revolution would not be televised, right? Lil Wayne would not have made a statement about 40 acres and a mule. You know what I mean? He would have got up there and create the imagery of black people coming together and forming the United States flag, and then himself sitting in the divide between the flags. So yeah, hey, as much as entertaining as what's that dude name, Lil Wayne would have been for the halftime performance, I would not have traded that performance for any entertainer, for that matter. I just wouldn't, unless they would have been brave enough to come with an even more clear and bold message. You feel me? So let's but I want to bring up one more clip. Yeah, I'll pull it up first. Oh yeah, this is nice and brief. Hold on. Okay, no, that ain't it. Damn, they really did that? Oh, okay, that's not it. Yeah, watch that. Yeah, I ain't be crazy. Wow, did I not? Oh, jeez. It's just a lot of people. Okay, so Fox News, they don't seem to want to. Did the Fox News like pull it or something? Okay, well, hold on, wait. What does this say? Okay, that's nothing. So let me see what. I guess we got to react to somebody reacting to Fox News. I guess.
Dana, I want to talk about the halftime show. Now, I got to tell you, what a nightmare. I kept sitting there saying, maybe I just don't get this guy. Then I find out there's this subplot, there's this drama with Drake, and, he can do a concert, this guy, Kendall Lamar, and he won all these.
Kendall Lamar? Who are these people?
Grammars, but we had Usher, we had The Weeknd, we had Beyonce, we had Rihanna. I mean, we had performers. I don't know what the hell this guy was doing, but I didn't get it.
No, it's going down as the worst halftime.
So yeah, she's just extremely uncultured. So I can't blame her for anything. See, this is what I'm talking about. She's the ignorant one, right? She just don't know shit, and that's that's okay. Maybe she'll watch one of these TikToks that can explain to her like what the beef was about and what a 40 acres and a mule is.
I'm show ever.
I thought so.
Listen.
Do you think
I'm
it appealed? Do you think it appealed to the mass market?
No.
It didn't.
As much as
ratings are in, and they're.
So yeah, the mass market. When he says the mass market, he's just talking about white people. You know what I mean? And and the reason I say that is because white people are the majority of the United States population. That is the mass market. And yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You have to. It's like what I said earlier. You have to judge like these entertainers from the merits, from their intentions. Like you can't. If Kendrick Lamar's intention wasn't to appeal to the mass market, then you can't really judge him from that perspective, from that angle. You have to judge him for what he was trying to do. You know what I mean? What his exact intention was. It sounded like he wanted to entertain people, right? But also educate folks. And it just so happens that if that education is to your detriment or it's supposed to make you feel unrest or uneasy, right? Then I don't know what to tell you. Then I guess it wasn't for you.
There was a bit of entertainment history made. Kendrick Lamar's halftime show was the most watched performance in the history of the game, with 133.5 million people tuning in. That is a larger audience than the Super Bowl game itself. So much for those on the right claiming people turn the TV off. No, they sang, turn the TV off. And for those keeping track, that's over 100 million more than the 24.6 million viewers that tuned in to watch President Donald Trump's second inauguration. Even the YouTube video of the halftime show uploaded yesterday already has more views than Trump's coronation. No need to be humble.
That's funny. There's a lot of, she put a lot of little funny little things in it. Anyway, yeah, so, that's pretty much my whole take regarding this Kendrick Lamar stuff. There's not much really else to say. I done gave y'all the whole. I done talked y'all ear off about this already. But the fact of the matter is as I said, Kendrick Lamar's performance is not. Its intention was not solely to entertain people. Okay, his intention was to go up there, let folks know that that the revolution won't be televised. That you can rig the game, but you can't fake influence. You know what I mean? All of these all of these good old zingers that he put out there. The say Drake. You know what I mean? Like all of this stuff has been solidified in the internet. We're getting good memes. We're getting some good quality memes. Like every day, damn near, since the Super Bowl, and he has yet again shifted the culture with this latest happening, with this latest addition to this to the bearing of Drake's career. All right, again, just playing. Like Drake's not going anywhere. Like, just to be real about it, Drake's not going anywhere. Kendrick Lamar is likely not going to be catching up with Drake's numbers and stuff like that, raw numbers and stuff like that. And it is what it is. But like, I'm always going to put, I'm always going to put Kendrick over Drake because I value like what Kendrick Lamar says over what Drake's is what he talks about in his songs. Now, unless people want to start showing me some content that Drake has put out there that is used to influence people politically and fight against the status quo and all that stuff. Hey, send them my way. Put them in the comments. What do you want to do? But and I'll take a listen. You know what I'm saying? I'll give credit when credit is due. But like that's why I got Kendrick over Drake in my opinion. But hey, if y'all think otherwise, that is dope too. I'm not here to divide the Kendrick stands from the Ovi hoes and all that other stuff. I just do. I just got my personal takes on it. Anyway, it's been Higher Thinking of the Chicago Black Delegation podcast, and this has been Corner Show, and I'll see you on the flip side. Okay, so that was the first segment. I don't know how long that probably took a while, to be honest with you, but that was just the first segment. We got 2 more segments, and then I'm gonna take me a break, and then again I'm going to come back, and then I want to read off a lot of these Donald Trump executive orders. But that's going to be a lot later on. I want to get the big one out the way first, don't I? I really do. So let's get the big one out the way, and I'm going to just downstream it with the easy thing. This is the easy thing. So let's get it started. Because this one's going to be a kind of a long conversation. So for anybody that's just stopping in or don't really know how things kind of ran around here, I do read every comment. You know what I mean. So if you leave something in the chat, I will definitely read it and respond to it. It's just that I'm only gonna respond to things. I'm only gonna respond to them between segments. So while I'm reacting to a video and giving my monologue and all that stuff. Just bear with me, be a little patient, and then I'm going to address everything that was left after each segment. All right. So this will be segment 2. I'm going to intro it. I'm going to get my spin on it, and then I'm going to outro it, and then we go to the third segment. So what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Chicago Black Delegation. I hate when I do this. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. I'm your host, HT, aka High Thing, and this is the Corner Show. This is the show when I just kind of come in and get my spin on the latest happenings in the world, especially from the framework, from the perspective of Black Americans, especially those that are community focused, that are community generated. So, without further ado, let's see what is going on regarding this, regarding the reparations conversation. I think before I even get into it. I definitely appreciate this era that we are in right now. Now it's definitely a lot of. I would definitely say there's a lot of fakers out there regarding like how I put this. There's definitely a lot of people out there that are saying they're like super pro reparations like that, and that's great and all. From the simple mentions of this type of a conversation, that is arguably a good thing, and I will give them credit for that. But at the same time, they're using that reparations word as essentially a buzzword. You know what I mean? In politics, that's an arguable point. But like especially in reference to like the Democrats stuff like that, like man, it's like the pro blacks, the MAGA blacks, and even a lot of leftists are criticizing Democrats for essentially using reparations as like this buzzword instead of actually making things happen, making things change. In my opinion, regarding like that political perspective, that political the political side of this type of a conversation, listen, we gotta kind of meet. We gotta deal with, and I'm sorry, if we want reparations to happen, right? We are gonna have to be in the same room as those that are discussing reparations. And if that means you have to be a Democrat, then that's just kind of is what it is. As it stands right now, Republicans don't give 2 shits about reparations. Like we saw Donald Trump do all this hooting and hollering about the platinum plan, them 5 or whatever years ago, And look what it came of it. Like he's now president of the United States, and he hasn't even thought about mentioning the Platinum Plan. Like those that he has sat with have not even asked him about the Platinum Plan, which is very, very bizarre. But it is. But hey, it is what it is. But that all of those things aside, if we this reparation like conversation, is definitely something that needs to be continuous like that. And I think a good thing, I think the best way for most people to start this type of conversation is finding themselves a documentary. You know what I mean? Find them like you got to be a really robust documentary, but like find like a Dr. Claude Anderson. Find a Dr. Claude Anderson and let's just listen to him speak about reparations. Find a Dr. Sandy Darity. Let him watch him talk about reparations. Join the conversation with a ADOS. You know what I mean? They just and there's all types of like platforms we can like listen to people talk about reparations. And then when you're ready, sit down and have the conversation with these people yourselves. And then when you're ready, try to maybe you can start calling your local state senators and state representatives and stuff like that, or town hall representative, like just everybody that's in a position of power, have the conversation about it. You know what I mean? And at the very least, you'll find out where to go next, as far as as far as progression towards receive. How do I put this? As far as being a part of the solution on receiving reparations, because just sitting there talking about it, just sitting there listening about it is like, again, this is just the first step. You know what I mean? And it's just been, unfortunately, we are in a position where it's just been too much talking and maybe even too much, and also too much listening and not enough action. However, for those that may not know, there is a lot of conversation. There is a lot of people, making the conversation. Putting the words to action as far as reparations and stuff like that, and the discourse surrounding it. So, and this here, this video, from who are these guys appearing in? And this video from the Chronicles of Blacks, which is seem to be a pretty nice platform here. This video is going to be talking a lot about this. It's going to be talking about a lot about reparations right here. So let's dig in and see what they're talking about.
Saw earlier, reparations is a hugely divisive issue. A Pew Research poll taken in late 2021 found that by a more than 2-to-1 margin, Americans oppose reparations for African Americans. And look at the racial split. Whites overwhelmingly oppose reparations, 80%.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. All adults, well, this don't, 30% for and 68% again. Oh, sure. Now for the whites that are against reparations, that is for a myriad of reasons, and you're gonna hear this quite a bit. It is for a myriad of reasons, and most of them, right, are rooted in ignorance. The most common arguments we're gonna hear is, those people have long passed. The conversation is gonna be, those people. You're just gonna get the money and splurge it anyway. The conversation is, where's the money gonna come from? Like, there's a bunch of stuff that is rooted in, again, ignorance, right? And it's not speaking to the actual conversation that's being had regarding reparations being a justice claim. Like, none of these things can be used in a court. None of these things are like persuasive arguments to disprove why reparations is a necessary justice claim. They're essentially grasping at straws. They're grasping at nothing in hopes of formulating some sort of a counter argument so that black people don't receive what's due to them. What else does it say? Like, it was 400 years, or hundreds of years of a systemic, 400 years is over 400 years of systemic oppression for starters, but like hundreds of years of just like actual chattel slavery where people weren't given money for their labor. Like, I don't know, and people just for some reason don't want to believe that that won't have any sort of that has no influence on the current generation today. Like it's beyond crazy. Like it's not even just an economic problem. You know what I mean? It's not even just something that that affects our economic standing in America right now, but also but also coming from Dr. Joy DeGroy and the book Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, it affected our psyche as well, you know? So, like, for those people that don't want to, like, take this conversation, how do I put this? If they don't want to take our argument at face value, you know what I mean? You have to at least do the research yourself and then come to the conversation at least with the understanding of what happened to Black Americans throughout from chattel slavery to the current standing of Black Americans today. So, a second. Oops. Oh, there we go. Let's keep going.
But the numbers are almost exactly reversed among African Americans who strongly support.
Darn it. I'll even forget already. So that kind of explains like the against part, right? Now we have the Black Americans that are for it. Now this is also for a myriad of reasons. And for it can be like similar. It's gonna be like similar, like right. So everything I say about the 77% of Black Americans that are for reparations is going to be similarly to it can likely be applied to the 18% of white Americans that are for it as well. And it's all about education. You know what I mean? Like these are the people that are, for the most part, educated on the matter. But it's 18% is probably solely just educated about the matter. I want to say the 77% is majority educated on Black systemic oppression, off just for the simple reason that we are Blacks and we hear this stuff all the time, and it's like literally embedded into our culture to talk about systemic oppression, right? But at the same time, there is going to be a population of Black Americans that just don't know, like they don't know. So and they probably just want, they just want to check. There's like those people do exist. That's just to be real, you know what I mean? But for the most part, the enlightened percentage, the woke percentage of these people, these Black Americans, is like I said, it's the education. They have the education, so they want to apply that education, and they know there's a justice claim there, so they want to pursue that justice claim. So that's why they will vote for this type of thing. Now, the 17% that are against it, I have no idea why. I have no idea why these people. Wait, you know what? I do have an idea I do have an idea who these people are. These people, again, our Tariq Nasheed fans are here. Our FBA fans are here. Maybe some of the ADOS guys. You know what I mean? These will be our tethers. Okay. These are our tethers. All right. That 17%. Let me show y'all again. The 17%, these are the tethers. These are the Black Americans that look like Black. They look like Black Americans. They look like freedmen, ADOS, FBAs, but they know that they won't benefit from reparations, right? They believe that they'll have to pay, right? And so they'll vote no. So just want everybody, like, this is how it usually, my picture's in the way, but yeah, well, hey, y'all get the mess when I re-upload this. But yes, let me just move it out the way real quick for y'all. So yeah, that 17%, you see it? Yeah, those are. Hold on, where's my mouse at? Yeah, this 17%, those are the tethers. Okay, those are the black people that are immigrants whom are not descendants of slaves. Okay. All right, now I can put this thing back. All right, let's continue.
Oppose reparations, 80%. But the numbers are almost exactly reversed among African Americans who strongly support the idea. So joining me now is Cornell.
Okay, so let's go to 5 minutes.
be remedied.
Dear Dr. K, I used to think I was never meant to be beautiful. You work within my budget and help me feel.
It was first proposed that the federal government should pay for the repairs. Slavery was defended on the grounds that the federal government actively upheld it through constitutional protections and laws. Consequently, it is critical to set up a specific fund for reparations. White supremacist slave owners' descendants should also not own the wealth that came from slavery if it is claimed that descendants of slaves shouldn't get reparations since they didn't experience the brutalities firsthand. It would be necessary to seize this wealth if this were to happen. In a legal and moral sense, who is the legitimate claimant to this fortune? Slaves' descendants, who are still dealing with systemic racism, rightfully own this wealth.
Okay. Just want y'all to soak that one in. It's going to help with the context of the rest of the conversation. Matter of fact, let's go through it again because I need to be able to explain something to y'all from like the beginning.
That this injustice be remedied. It was first proposed that the federal government should pay for the repairs. Slavery was defended on the grounds that the federal government actively upheld it through constitutional protections and laws. Consequently, it is critical to set up a specific fund for reparations. White supremacist slave owners' descendants should also not own the wealth that came from slavery if it is claimed that descendants of slaves shouldn't get reparations since they didn't experience the brutalities firsthand. It would be necessary to seize this wealth if this were to happen.
Yeah, I really didn't want to. I almost missed that point there. So yeah, I need. This is like a direct response to those people that try to claim that because those that experienced slavery are deceased now, that there's no need to how I should say compensate them for their lost time. You're right. Like they were, I mean, they generations upon generations of people, went to slave. They did us unpaid. They participate in unpaid labor, like slavery. Like they say that because those people passed, there's no need to pay those people back because they're deceased already. Again, this is if we're gonna be doing that, if we're gonna try to make that an argument. We have to also remember that wealth does not dissipate. The wealth does not disappear. You know what I mean? Like the money that the value that they created does not dissipate. Like it's here to stay, right? And for those, and how do I put this? And for those people that want to pretend like it doesn't matter, that we don't need to. Oh man, I lose my train of thought. And for those people that try to say that we don't need to pay them back because they're dead and all this stuff, like look, because that money doesn't go anywhere, right? Guess who benefited? Guess who reaped the rewards of that of their efforts of that unpaid labor? You know what I'm saying? Like that money went to those people, went to the slave owners, the slave masters' hands. And they use that money to fund a myriad of things that specifically pertains to their wealth accumulation, but also the development of this nation through paying taxes. So there's no other really other way to like slice it. You know what I mean? If those people that benefited from the unpaid labor of Black Americans through those generations of chattel slavery, if they get the benefit from that, then why cannot the generations of Black Americans that whom descended from those initial slaves, why can't they benefit from that labor? You know what I mean? We don't have that. We don't get access to that, and that's what this whole conversation should be. That's the whole purpose of this conversation, of this of the justice claim for reparations. So,
in a legal and moral sense,
let me go to the next part. 655.
$50 trillion. Even though Black Americans worked hard to build this country, they still only own around 2% of the wealth in the United States. Government wealth building programs have historically failed to include Black Americans. As an example, they were not allowed to participate in the 1863 Homestead Act, which allowed citizens to receive 160 acres of land for a small fee and 5 years of cultivating the land. The 270 million acres, worth $1.6 trillion, were claimed by mostly white homesteaders over 70 years. Also, Black Americans lost $143 billion because the Social Security Act of 1935 did not include them, and another $45 billion because the GI Bill of 1944 did not provide benefits to Black veterans. We would greatly appreciate it if you could subscribe to our channel and like this video so that we can continue to provide you with more content like this. We are seeking your support as we strive to establish a robust community. Alright, carry on. Even when Black Americans tried to build wealth networks for their businesses, they were violently resisted or even killed. An unfortunate example is the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, in which a group of white people set fire to Black-owned businesses in the affluent Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma. This wealth disparity persisted in part because of these upheavals and because Black people were historically relegated to low-paying jobs. Rochester factors and losses sustained during the Jim Crow and civil rights eras.
So, I want to show y'all something as well to accommodate to add on to the Tulsa Race Massacre. That's like that's the big one. You know what I mean? Everybody talks about the Tulsa Race Massacre. You know what I mean? But I want to show y'all something that you may or may not know already. This is it was a specific picture I want to see. There was a specific picture. Oh man, I forgot what I searched. We might have to go with that one. Civil strife. Oh man. Oh, these I cannot. Damn. I ain't gonna waste so much time looking for it either. But long story short, Tulsa, Oklahoma was not the only race riot that happened in the 1900s. Oh, you hear it? God, how did I miss this? Jeez. Anyway, yeah. So this right here. Detroit 1943, Chicago 1919, Springfield 1908. Like, look, it was let me see, Tulsa, New Orleans, but yeah, here Tulsa in 1921. Like, Black massacres all throughout the east side. Okay, this is everybody talks about Tulsa, right? But as you see, happened pretty much everywhere during this time period, and a lot of it was local government. What can I say? Like, local government actually participated in a lot of this stuff. Like the policemen, you know what I mean? They took off their badges, they took off their uniform, and they acted like fools out there. You know, they weren't. You know, these people weren't defending these Black communities and stuff like that. They burned them down. You know what I mean? They killed people. I mean, all it took was some white woman to complain about being whistled at or something crazy, or just or a lad that a Black man attacked her or whatever like that, and then bam, there goes the whole town. You know. So I want people to I don't want people just to limit the conversation to just Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like, it's happened all over the place. You know what I mean? Tulsa, Oklahoma being Black Wall Street, you know, that's we can say that's a big deal because, you know, that's where a lot of economic that's where one of our strongest political, excuse me, that Tulsa, Oklahoma, aka Black Wall Street, is an important conversation to have. Don't get me wrong, because that was like one of the capitals of Black economic growth and stuff like that. But all these other, like, I would argue to say that all of these places could have had their own ecosystems and different metrics of group economics, stuff like that. People like came together and helped each other, build things like business and stuff like that. Like where there are Black businesses, it may not be to the level of Tulsa, Oklahoma, but that's where wealth generation can happen. And burning all of these communities down is a huge setback for the Black communities. For all, I mean, it's even Atlanta, like everywhere Black community is burnt down, it is a direct attack on our wealth generation. Like, I mean, if I need to break it down, I can, but like a lot of that can be happening. A lot of that can be understood in Dr. Claude Answer's Powernomics book. But I mean, long story short, essentially, when you build for yourself, right? When you build a business in the community, the exchange that the benefit that the service you exchange for the income generated, it doesn't just benefit your company and your pockets, but it also services the local town hall through taxes, and it also services like the people by way of distance traveled, not having to go as far as heading to a sundown town or anything like that to get to visit a grocery store or get an oil change or anything like that. It goes super duper deep. It goes really far as understanding why local business is important and why communities to keep those businesses afloat is also important. And especially during the time period, especially looking at the time period of which this stuff was happening, right? You also have to add in the understanding that with like the extreme racism that was happening during this time period, best believe white people were making it an effort to boycott a lot of these Black businesses. You know what I mean? Not all. Don't get me wrong, but too many of these Black businesses were definitely being boycotted by white people for the simple reason that they understood group economics. They knew that if they kept putting money, their white dollars into these Black businesses, those Black businesses would not have benefited the white communities or the white collective. And I'd argue to say that is a big reason why a lot of these towns were attacked to begin with. So, but let's go back to the video. Oh, that ain't it. Okay. 29 minutes.
In addition to resolving inequalities in housing, education, and company ownership, these reparations should include programs that increase housing. In addition to resolving inequalities in housing, education, and company ownership, these reparations should include programs that increase wealth. The combined investments in factories and railroads exceeded the estimated value of enslaved Black Americans' labor in 1860, which was over $3 billion. In 1861 alone, the cotton that was grown by slaves was worth $250 million. Although the enslaved people had little chance of becoming wealthy, the nation's economy was propelled by the immense wealth that white slave owners amassed through slavery. There has been no restitution for the equity that has been lost due to anti-Black housing, transportation, and business policies, and the descendants of enslaved Black Americans have not received compensation for their labor. Slavery, Jim Crow segregation, and discriminatory practices like redlining have all worked together to deny Black Americans the chance to build wealth. The fact that white people who did not complete high school have more wealth than Black people who completed college proves that calling for people to work harder and change their behavior won't close the racial wealth gap.
And so there you go. I mean, what else saying that? And these are all facts as well, man. Like White folks without any significant education have more wealth than black people. It's saying a whole lot. I mean, and it goes to it's all about the generational wealth. You know what I mean? A lot of people try to write it off and stuff like that, like as if generational wealth is not a important factor as far as wealth accumulation and wealth generation. It's nonsense. Don't get me wrong. There is things that can happen to your wealth, like bad gambles and stuff like that, and bad bets and being swindled and stuff like that. It happens. This is a monopoly game, you know. But the fact that you have the opportunity at all is a significant. Like those. How do I put this? Being in poverty because you or your lineage has made mistakes economically is a much different conversation than those that never had the opportunity at all, or also whose lineage has never had the opportunity to become wealthy at all. You know, you have the money. Like, hey, if you got the money, you made some bad bets, made some invested money in some bad businesses. It is what it is. What you got to chop it up to the game. Those descendants of slaves never had any access to that. To the game at all. They were just pawns. They were pawns from the inception of this country. So the fact that I mean, who else to really say this? If people don't think that is a significant part of this conversation that can be used to persuade those to understand that reparations is a necessary justice claim, then I mean, I don't know what else to say. I think you're just being disingenuous. Let's keep going.
Your child needs these 3 key factors to get into an Ivy League or top 25 university.
65. Now, let's set the stage. After the Civil War ended, millions of African Americans were freed from slavery, but with no resources, no land, and no real support. Then came the promise: 40 acres and a mule, a chance to rebuild lives and create generational wealth. It was a glimmer of American.
I want y'all to see this too.
In 1865. Now, let's set the stage. After the Civil War ended, millions of African Americans were freed from slavery, but with no resources, no land, and no real support. Then came the promise: 40 acres and a mule, a chance to rebuild lives and create generational wealth. It was a glimmer of hope for a brighter future. But that promise? It was broken. The land was taken back, leaving freed slaves to fend for themselves in a system designed to keep them at the bottom. So, what if that promise was fulfilled? What if African Americans had been given the land and resources they deserved? How different would America look today?
All right. So they kind of posed with a bit of a hypothetical, like if we were to receive these reparations, what are reparations? If we were to receive this 40 acres and a mule, what will happen? How would that spill over into our current economic standard today? I think a lot of things. I want to answer by saying this. There are some things that are more valuable in concept than other things, right? So let's talk about that for a second. We can say that having the access to like fancy cars, having access to travel, having like the access to do all of these things that's more so materialistic it's a convenience, right? It's a nice thing to have, a nice way to live a fulfilling life, At the same time, some of the more important things, especially for during that time period, especially like that, like those Black Americans during that time period that were really particularly ambitious. You know what I mean? That would have mean much different things for those people. So understanding that generation of Black Americans that were whom were really ambitious and use the money to not just give back services to the community, but also drive enough business and drive enough worth to essentially pass down to their generations and pass down and pass that wealth down to their generations. For if not just right that those race riots, those race massacres, not just if those didn't happen, not just the redlining and all these other things. Not only if those things didn't happen, but just starting from the very beginning, if we were given like that 40 acres and a mule, I think a lot of people don't seem to know that the value of land, even like today. How do I put this? I think a lot of people don't understand what that means for what that type of land, what those type of resources would mean into like today's society. Like looking at the real estate market, looking at how expensive it is to own land, how expensive it is to even like live for that matter, apartments and homes, like all types of stuff. It's a really, really booming business. So for every Black American for every emancipated person back during that time period to receive something for those generations of slave labor and stuff like that, that would mean a lot for today. I mean, a lot of the day. Even if a lot of them were to sell that property, yes, they would have used that money that they would have got from selling that property to strap different types of business in other areas. You know what I mean? And some of those businesses would not have made it, but a lot of them would have made it. At least where we, in comparison to where we are today, it'd have been like night and day, like easily. It'd have been like night and day. So to answer this question, like in the best case scenario, right? In the best case scenario where we use our creativity, we use our collective upliftment, we worked with each other in order to drive good business and in order for things to go further and further in society, as far as economically. Look, every problem, like literally every problem we have as a society, as a group of people now, would have been completely eliminated if we were given that 40 acres and a mule when it was issued out. I mean, I'm sorry, in this in that time of its inception. In that time, if the government would have delivered on that, then again, every problem that we would have had now as a society would not be a thing. I'm talking as far as if we want to talk about let me think, what would be the first thing? Resources. Like that's like the first thing you can think of. That's like the first thing most people would think of when it comes to wealth. Like the first thing people will do with like wealth is, okay, what kind of resource can I buy that could keep me alive? You know what I mean? What kind of resource can I buy to that I could give to the next person, to my neighbor? What kind of resource can I buy to stroke the success of my business? You know what I mean? What kind of resources can I buy to assist the next my neighbor's business? You know what I mean? That is hiring my son or my daughter, so that so they'll have something to do after school. You know what I mean? So they don't get into trouble. You know what I mean? Like it goes all over the place. Like with resources comes the ability to create things that can keep your kids safe. You know what I mean? From not just from other people, but also from themselves. You know, a lot of the problems of like Chicago and other urban environments is the lack of opportunity. You know, if like a lot of these kids, they sell drugs because there's no other opportunities for them. You know, if those opportunities were made available, and if they paid properly and fairly, then these kids will essentially be fine with like not having to sell drugs. You know what I mean? Now, another problem is the politics. You know what I mean? With what a lot of people don't seem to understand. What a lot of people don't know, maybe I'm assuming it is like corporations. big corporations, they put a lot of money into lobbying. You know what I mean? They put a significant portion of their wealth generation into lobbying. They want to make sure that their voice is being heard in politics, and they want their agendas being met in politics. So yeah, they would best believe they will go as far as hiring whomever is necessary to push push their political agendas forward. You feel me? If Black Americans don't have the wealth, you know what I mean, they simply won't have the time, they won't have the resources to essentially. They won't have the time. They won't have the resources to set aside to make sure that their voices are heard in politics. A lot of people don't even invest the time into understanding politics, let alone having the time to sit down in town hall meetings and make trips to wherever they have to go to protest for whatever things that's going on that's happening directly to the people they represent or they care about the most. But last but not least, love. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know if anybody like knows this or not, but like money is a big part of like the wealth generation and all that stuff. That being available and stuff like that, in many different ways is a huge part of like affection and love and stuff like that. So, I know there's a big conversation regarding like this traditional lifestyle where a woman gets to, stay home and stuff like that, and the man, brings home the bacon and stuff like that, and he produces. Well, I don't know how it can really. I think it's easy to understand like the link between, a large group of men not having the access of wealth that to attract women, right? That other race of men have essentially a leg up on. You know what I mean? Now, not to say this an excuse or anything like that. A lot of us have had opportunities in our lifetimes like that to generate some set of a wealth. But compared to those individuals that had the benefits of generational wealth, it's just a different conversation. You know what I mean? So, but with that aside, those are just three things I can think of at the top of my head that will be affected if we had, if that promise of 40 acres and a mule was met. You know what I mean? So. Ooh, my rants.
In this video,
Hold on. 1807.
So did you know that some of the biggest market gains don't happen during the day, but actually overnight?
For centuries. Then came Special Field Order No. 15, issued by Union General William Tecumseh Sherman. This was the origin of the famous promise: 40 acres and a mule for every freed family. The idea was simple: give them the land they had worked on for generations so they could build a new life. And for a brief moment, it actually started happening. Families were given plots of land along the coast in places like Georgia and South Carolina. Imagine the hope that must have sparked. But just months later, President Andrew Johnson reversed the order. The land was taken back and handed right back to former Confederate landowners. That broken promise marked a pivotal moment. Instead of building wealth and stability, freed African Americans were thrust into a system of sharecropping and exploitation that kept them trapped in poverty for generations.
All right. So, there was the 40 acres and a mule, and this is pretty much how it happened. 40 acres and a mule was promised, and Andrew Jackson turned that down. Andrew Johnson didn't just turn 40 acres and a mule down, but he also turned down the funding for Freedmen initiatives. You know what I mean? The Freedmen's Bureau, Freedmen's Bank, so on and so forth. Like that's the man that did it. You know what I mean? And for like I don't know, man. It just seems so crazy that people just can like see all of this, they can know all of this, but they can still just like scoff at the idea of pursuing this justice claim. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, he pretty much spelled it out pretty plainly for everybody to understand. it was promised and it was taken away from because of over the actions of one president. And honestly, that's just the end. And he wasn't even like, for everybody that didn't know, Andrew Johnson was the guy that replaced Abraham Lincoln after he was assassinated. So it's like, it's crazy. If Abe Lincoln wasn't assassinated, it sounded like we would have got it sounded like we at least got those that 40 acres and a mule, at least for that time period. I don't know. Now, I'm not to say that the government wouldn't have, like, wouldn't have reversed it. That very much so could have been possible, but there'd have been no, like, justifiable reason to reverse it outside of just simply impeding on the progress of Black Americans. So.
At the time, there were around 4 million freed African Americans. If each family received 40 acres of land, that would total over 160 million acres. To put that into perspective, that's nearly the size of California. Today, that land would be worth billions, possibly trillions, in generational wealth. But the real power of land ownership isn't just in the land itself, it's in what you can do with it. Imagine millions of Black families owning fertile farmland, starting businesses, and passing down wealth to their children.
And there you go. So this goes to what I was saying earlier. Yeah, these people, these Black Americans would have received that 40 acres and a mule. They would have cultivated it. They would have partnered with their neighboring, Black Americans. They probably would have combined businesses. Mergers would have happened. Like a lot of things. Like the limits are endless as far as how these people would have cultivated that land into something that would greatly benefited their families for generations to come. You know what I'm saying? And that would have again addressed a lot of problems that we have today, just from that alone, from the wealth generation of that time period alone, would have addressed our political issues. They would have addressed our resource issues, love issues. I mean, educational issues as well. It's endless. Like literally the benefits are seemingly endless when it comes to what that would have did for us as a people. Wait, what?
This would have created a foundation for thriving communities, economic hubs like Black Wall Street, but on a much larger scale and decades earlier. With land comes opportunity, the ability to secure loans, fund education, and build businesses. Instead of being systematically excluded from wealth-building opportunities like the home.
Yep. So yeah, man, it's pretty much like everything I just said. So 2011. Wait, what? 2111.
If reparations had been paid in 1865, the ripple effect on American society would have been profound. Think about it. Land ownership and generational wealth would have allowed Black families to build strong, self-sufficient communities. Schools, churches, and businesses could have been established without the constant threat of economic displacement or systemic oppression. Now imagine the social standing of African Americans in a world where wealth and influence were built over generations. Would segregation have taken hold the way it did? Would Jim Crow laws have been so effective if Black communities had the resources to fight back legally, politically, and economically?
So yeah, that's going to end. I'd already say that we had the wealth, right? Legal things would not have been a problem for us either. Racism wouldn't have been as much of a problem either. You know what I mean? Mind you, there would have been a rivalry. You know what I mean? Between communities, right? Maybe some of our rivals could have been white Americans. Some of those rivals could have been Latinos. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some of those rivals could have been those that don't identify as white, but had that were immigrants coming from other countries like that. They may have been white passing. Like as I'm pretty sure some of y'all may know that Italians had an issue in integrating into American society. Irish had problems in integrating into American society. Like white people in America just didn't that were like it didn't, like, how do I put this? The tribalism was very strong in Americans. You know what I mean? And like it took a while for other nationality groups that were white passing to fully integrate into American society, because if I can just for my black people here, basically during that time period, they were the Italians, the Irish, like those that were white passing, maybe even Jewish as well. Yeah. Those people that were white passing, they probably they probably had a word for them that was something similar to tethers as well. You know what I'm saying? It's just the old way of them, separating the standard white American from these new white people that try to acquiesce or benefit from the what was built or what was already established in America. So that's something that people need to understand as well. But anyway, but the point I'm getting at is people need to, how do I put this? People need to understand that. Okay, what I mean to say is, absolutely, there'd have been a lot of rivalries that would have happened during that time period, and it'd have been a bit, for the most part, let the best man win, may the best community win, may the most focused, right, may the not necessarily wealthiest, but like those that are most strategic, the ones that are smartest with their money, let those communities would have thrived. You know what I'm saying? But like to create something, to create a system to keep like one class, one group above, maybe not even just that, but to create a system to keep one class below everybody else is just simply unfair. You know what I mean? And that's literally what happened to American freedmen especially during that time period. And I'd argue to say that it continues today. But now we're gonna go to our last portion of this video. And again, subscribe to these people, bro. Like, subscribe to these people. They are. This is definitely a really educational, very insightful video. And I'm gonna show. I'm again to show y'all the content creator name when I'm done reviewing it.
Resurgence in discussions about reparations. Cities like Evanston, Illinois, have already taken steps by providing reparations in the form of housing assistance to Black residents. And on a national scale, the conversation has gained more traction, with politicians and activists pushing for policies that would address the generational impact of slavery and systemic racism. But here's the thing: reparations aren't just about handing out checks.
Take off the mask and look at your smile.
She made these.
It's about systemic changes that redistribute wealth, provide access to education, healthcare, housing, and opportunities to build long-term wealth. It's about ensuring that the broken promise of 1865 doesn't continue to haunt future generations. What could that look like? Well, imagine if the US government invested heavily in Black communities, not just in a symbolic way, but with real, tangible support that addresses the wealth gap. Investments in businesses, schools, healthcare, and infrastructure could empower entire communities to thrive. Could we see land grants like those originally promised? It's possible. While the country isn't likely to hand out millions of acres of land to descendants of enslaved people, there are other ways to close the gap. Land trusts, affordable housing initiatives, and investments in Black-owned businesses could act as modern-day reparations, helping to break the cycle of poverty. And of course, this is a conversation that's going to take time. True reparations require a shift in the collective mindset. It's about recognizing that the wealth and power that built America was built on the backs of Black people, and in order to truly move forward, we must rectify those wrongs. But here's the thing: this is not an impossible task. History has shown that change can happen. Just look at how far the civil rights movement came in a few short decades. We're living in a time where the conversation around reparations is not just a distant dream, but a real possibility. It's up to us to keep pushing for change and keep the momentum going. So while we may never know exactly what America would look like if reparations had been paid in 1865, we do know that the future is still in our hands. If we keep fighting for equity, fairness, and justice, we can still create a world where reparations aren't just a question of what if, but a question of when.
All right. So that is the last part I want to show, and there's more to go. There's more to cover in this video. And you saw me, skipping around and stuff like that. So if y'all could, please check out. Just type it in. Just type it in on the search engine, Chronicles of Blacks, and their video just in. Reparation payments approved. 151 million for each black American. A little bit of a clickbait, but like it was published 5 days ago. It's brand spanking new. Help them out with their viewers and stuff like that. It's a very insightful and a very good video. So I'm gonna like them. I'm gonna subscribe to myself. But yeah, yep. So look, there's two ways of like engage in this type of conversation in respects to black people. Like these are the two ways black people can that I can, at least for now, I can think of that black people can interpret all of this. We can look at it as something that we to aspire towards. Like I think we all can agree on that. Something we can something that is a justice claim that is fair and is owed to us. You know what I'm saying? But I think some of us are going to be a little more proactive than others, right? And I would say there's a scale too. There's a scale. There's gonna at zero, right at the very, very bottom of it. There's gonna be those that are like that 17% that I mentioned earlier, right? That will oppose reparations for descendant of freedmen. And then there'll be those in the middle. Let's say 5 out of 10 of those would be the people that will like the idea of receiving reparations, but they won't do much to initiate it, to enact it. And then going up from there between 5 and 10 is going to be slowly moving towards receiving it, or doing what's necessary to receive reparations. I would say that would be between 7 and 8, but at 10, like the full throttle of this conversation, of digesting this conversation, will be being inspired to see this stuff actually happen by any means necessary. And I don't mean that by I don't mean that by going out and committing all these these heinous acts and stuff like that, and doing all this crazy stuff. I'm not talking about starting a riot, not at all. I'm talking about how else to really put this. If you're a true SYCBM, right? If you're a true person that wants the collective upliftment of this people in this community, then some of these things you would go ahead and do on your own. You know what I mean? You will have conversations with those in your community about what can we do to help things get better with state or move in the right direction of that'll be best for us as a people. Like it's a lot of stuff. Okay. A lot of this is where a lot of conversations regarding buying back the block. You know what I mean? Reverse gentrification. What do you call that? Supporting black business. You know what I mean? And it's like, it is not just about just supporting black business. It's not just about like buying back buying property and stuff like that. It's also what you do with the money. You know what I mean? Because like we can all make these types of like things. We can all make money all these different type of ways. Investing into grocery stores and all these things that are considered like good. Okay. Let me use this example. The first example I gave, buying back the block, or reverse gentrification. You could do that, right, and tax the people that are your tenants high, and essentially and move out of that same community and acquiesce and live in a predominantly and that ain't got to be a white society, but like a neighborhood that is not dominated by like black people. You know what I'm trying to say? So, and then when you do that, you're extracting. When you do that, when you take your resources and when you're extracting resources from a community, any community for that matter, and it's being sent to you, whom is living in a completely different area, that those initial people that you are making money from don't benefit from, then that's not what SYCBM is about. That's not what saving your coach is about. Saving your coach is essentially maximizing the profit margin, the collective empowerment of your communities. Especially black communities, going off of this hashtag. But just from a community mindset in general, just if we can like spread this message to everybody, not just black people, this is something that everybody can adopt, right? In order to fight it back against the Walmarts, the Targets, like the McDonald's, like so on and so forth. These people are billionaires because we'll keep feeding them, instead of the mom and pop shops that are doing this damage to stay relevant in these very economically challenging and competitive environments. That is the market. And when we as a consumer, right, start to put more effort into supporting these mom and pop shops, instead of like these big corporations, then I mean, look, for the starters, like those mom and pop shops pay taxes. They don't only just pay taxes through that business, but they also pay taxes through their own homes. You know what I mean? So as far as like local tax, they get up and shop within that community. They'll pay, like they'll assist with paying the taxes that keep everybody else's tax down. Like, I don't want to go through all of this stuff. A lot of stuff should be kind of common sense for you, but like the simple, like the easiest way of explaining this is when you support businesses of those that live in your community, it essentially multiplies it literally multiplies the value that is given back to your community. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to giving your money, supporting a business that is being handled by some CEO and a board member group that is so far off in some other area. So that's just like, that is like the most, I would say, anal right way of like supporting your own community or saving your culture. You know what I mean? And that is definitely an extreme thing, and it's going to take a whole lot of a huge collaborative effort, but it is possible. All right, it is possible, and it's going to take a shit ton of organization. With that aside, and marrying that into this conversation that we're having right now, a lot of stuff that we're talking about regarding education. I mean, regarding building better education for our black kids. Being more, having better access to resources, having the time for education, for politics and stuff like that. All of this stuff, but buying back the block, like everything, all of this stuff can be done by us. It can't, like, we're not going to be, by all means, we're not going to be able to recreate, we're not going to be able to replace what white people are supposed to give us, that is reparations. We're not going to be able to generate that type of income as a group. Like that's not going to happen. However, if we essentially practice things that's discussed in this book, Powernomics by Dr. Claude Anderson, we can create something that is very that's very similar to it. It's not going to be to the same effect of, but it can be very, very similar to. And that is, I don't know if it's really, I don't know if it's really explain this. And I know that, I know this is a lot of what a lot of people are trying to. I mean, I guess the short way of saying all of this stuff is simply what we all kind of hear already regarding stop spending, like the $1 trillion number, or the black spending dollar and all this stuff, and just if black people stop banning Jordan and stuff like that, we'll be in a better political economic stand and stuff like that. Look, I'm not necessarily trying to say that. However, the things that we can do, that we have, that we can collectively invest in, not just individually, but collectively invest in, if we put a more focus, a stronger focus on community and especially the community that pays our local taxes, you know what I'm saying, then that will create better benefits, a better outcome for us as a collective, for us and also as individuals. Then again, just essentially just order out from Amazon all day, you know what I'm saying, or ordering fast food and things of that nature. So it's like, look, it's a really long conversation regarding how we can use our excess income or extra spending money to invest into communities and to pair up with other like-minded individuals to invest into our communities. And we will continue to have that conversation on this platform. But most importantly, I don't want this to go on deaf ears. You feel me? For these types of things that we talked about on this platform regarding the collective upliftment, regarding group economics and helping each other reach better heights and stuff like that, the whole nine, buying back the block, being more patient with each other in respects to business deals and even love. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things we can do as a culture, while we essentially go to politically evolve ourselves in aspiring to fight for what we deserve, and that's reparations. I took too much of y'all time already. I catch y'all flip side. It's been Chicago like delegation. I've been hard thinking. Catch y'all flip side. Okay, yeah, that was a long one. I apologize. Whew, I talked y'all ear also on that one. But yeah, like I said, man, this is just my thoughts, man. For everybody that's still rocking with me, I appreciate y'all. But these are just my thoughts, man. And I know I'm gonna be I know I didn't really say this SYCBM thing a lot in like past streams and stuff like that. But like this is pretty much gonna be the direction of my channel. At least from my perspective. Now, that mind you, I do have like other, team members and stuff like that on this platform, on this podcast, and they have like different perspectives. One is we got an FBA guy, we got a red pill guy, so on and so forth. But like as far as my perspectives, all of my perspectives is going to be derivative of this idea of us as a collective, not just black men, but also black women coming together and doing what's necessary for us as a culture, us as a community. You know what I mean? Because what those people did back during Black Wall Street, during all these during the Reconstruction era or pre-Reconstruction era, like that time period was booming, right? Because of the collective upliftment, because the idea of we got to do this together. A lot of these white people are trying to tell us, it's because the fatherless homes is why the black Americans of today can't get it together, and the feminism is the cause of the divide in the black community, and they're the ruining every. No, it's not feminism. It's not none of those corny ass things. It's what it is it's the disinvestment in our black communities, and it's not only coming, and it's not just because of what was done to us from yesteryear's racism. That's not just the black codes, not just the Jim Crow era and all of that stuff. It wasn't just that. It was also the fact that these black people worked with each other because they had no other choice, because they weren't allowed in white neighborhoods. They weren't allowed to do business with white people. They weren't allowed to eat in white restaurants. So what do they do? Black people create their own. You know what I mean? And that is like they forced us into group economics. And I think that's a perspective a lot of people don't seem to understand. You know what I mean? So when you are forced into group economics, that's going to inspire, that's going to create, that's going to cultivate this situation where black people are receiving money, are working white jobs. You know what I mean? They're doing white labor. They're doing the labor that is instructed to us from white people and stuff like that. And they're bringing it to their black communities, and they're keeping it in the black community because they have no choice but to keep it into the black community. Then they go out and party and go to these different. I mean, I forgot what that era was called, like during like the 1940s, like whatever that, like the Harlem Nights, that movie Harlem Nights. I'm pretty sure y'all watched that. But that era of black excellence that happened because of the limitations that was instilled to us by the Jim Crow era. If you can't spend your money in white restaurants and white businesses, then what's gonna happen? Black business is gonna boom, and it's as simple as that. And if black people are gonna accept business from white people, which is smart, and they're gonna keep, and if we keep their money into our communities because we have nowhere else to spend it, guess what comes next? A lot of self-investment, and when I say self-investment, I'm talking about black communities investing black people investing into their own communities. So just saying, that's how that happened. It's not because white, it's not because the fatherless homes and all that other dumb shit. No, it's literally because it's literally because black. I mean, how Scurry said, black people are just we have the option to dine in and do business with white people, and we are choosing to dine in and do business with white people because it's essentially a better quality than the black counterparts. So let's go into the last video so I can close this sucker out so I can start so I can cook my food. All right. So for those that don't know already, again, here on this platform, I will intro and outro 3 different segments. So this is the last segment, and after this segment, I will close out the stream. And this is gonna be a pretty brief one. So actually, it's gonna be really brief. So we're gonna get this one. We're gonna knock this one out. Hope this quality picks up. Hold on.
We're back now with a troubling story out of all.
This quality is booty cheeks. What's going on here? Hopefully it picks. Let me see if I can pull this phone. I hope this. Can I just YouTube? Oh, there we go. Okay, we got it. We're back. My thing is down too. My mouse is down. I definitely gotta take a break after this. Let's charge my mouse. All right. Okay. So, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Chicago Black Day Legend Podcast. I'm your host, HT, aka High Thinking, and this is the Corner Show. And here on this show, I simply just go through a bunch of videos and get my spin on it from the perspective of somebody that puts the culture forward, that puts the community forward at the forefront. Rather, this is a very collective mindset based YouTube channel. I have a collective mindset perspective. This is very similar. This is very much so a savior culture black male type of channel. Very savior culture black male type of perspective. So peep game, and let's give our spin on what's happening here. On today's video, we're gonna be discussing the I'm pretty sure y'all have heard about this situation regarding what happened over in North Cincinnati in Ohio. I mean apparently the MAGA, the Nazis, they all, the white supremacists are feeling vindicated. They feel empowered because it's Donald Trump, making it, becoming the president. You know what I'm saying? So now they coming out the woodworks and showing their ass essentially. And I'm happy to see. I'm so proud to report that that the townspeople, the locals, wasn't having it. You know what I'm saying? They ran these people out of their neighborhood. And they went above and beyond to make sure they think twice about trying to create something, create something like this in the future. You know what I mean? So let's see what it's about.
We're back now with a troubling story out of Ohio, where tonight a community is uniting after confronting a group of...
I always seem to forget this part.
We're back now with a troubling story out of Ohio, where tonight a community is uniting after confronting a group of white supremacists who wave swastika flags on a highway overpass. The confrontation happening on the outskirts of Lincoln Heights, a historically black community. NBC's Antonia Hilton has more, and a warning: this report contains offensive images.
A hateful demonstration unfolding on an overpass in Cincinnati as more than a dozen people gathered, donning all black and waving Nazi flags, weapons, and yelling racial slurs. Community members quickly confronting the group. Traffic camera video showing the moment those demonstrators rush back into a U-Haul truck and leave. Social media video appearing to show the same moment from the perspective of the demonstrators. The crowd that drove them away, burning the swastika flags left behind. Local police responded to the incident on Friday around 2 p.m., but made no arrests, in a statement calling the gathering offensive but legal.
The reason that I made the decision when I first encountered them that I was not making an arrest was because there was no law being violated. They were open carrying in accordance with Ohio's open carry law.
Reverend,
which is pretty unfortunate. These people are they're collective. I guess they have the option to run around with their guns and stuff like that. But racial slurs and all that stuff. It's just, it's unfortunate that that's how the law kind of shapes up over there. But I don't know. If somebody would have got shot, we all would have known why. But I guess how they kind of see it. This is it. I guess people just run around there with Nazi imagery, and I guess try to make some sort of a statement. But I think the primary objective of this, there's multiple objectives, but I think one objective that people may not know of is showing the locals that there's a collection of people that are sentimental towards the essentially the idealism of white supremacy, and they want other people to be inspired, to be invigorated to pair up with those people. They want to increase their numbers, and they want them to reach out, and if these people have not, got together, we're all black, waving these flags, then those individuals that felt like-minded would have felt that there is no home for them. You know what I mean? So I believe that's something that we all need to be aware of as well, as far as understanding, as far as understanding what's going on in this in this situation. It's not just to cause civil distress or civil unrest amongst the communities, the collective, those around them and stuff like that. These neighborhoods, it's a call to arms essentially.
And community leader Julian Cook demanding answers.
Were you surprised that no arrests were made?
Absolutely. We had questions about why there was no arrest made when there were clear violations of the law. For example, in the state of Ohio, it is illegal to ride as a passenger in the back of a cargo truck. We wanted to make sure, had these individuals been checked for warrants, these signs that were hung on the bridge, that's government property, that's vandalism.
I actually agree with that. At the very least, these people run around with guns like that, with that type of rhetoric, with that type of ideology. I think those are the prime people that as far as I think that's a strong correlation to a lot of those individuals, white individuals that are in jail. They have swastika tattoos. You know what I mean? I mean that's kind of one of the that's kind of one of the what's the word? Stereotypical. That's like the stereotypical white prisoner. You know what I'm saying? That the skinhead white guy with like Nazi tattoos and stuff like that, or Klans tattoos, or just like that type of stuff like that. You know, if somebody, if you know there's a significant population of skinheads or swastika like Nazi sympathizers in prison right now, and you have a whole group of them right here, like I think that's what probable cause. I think that is a probable cause for like some sort of a background check. You know what I mean? Like see if these people have some kind of a history or some kind of, you know, something that's that needs to be pursued legally. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that's a really good point, to be honest with you. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, if they broke a law as far as like riding in a, you know, in the backseat of a pickup truck or stuff like that, if that's against the law, then yeah, issue out your ticket or what you got to do, what you got to do. You know what I mean? But don't pretend like there was nothing. Don't pretend like no law wasn't broken. Okay, so I got to take back what I said earlier. So yeah, because I definitely don't know Ohio law. And that, you know, that man, he just checked me. So hey, I think it sound like the local law enforcement need to tighten up.
The racist demonstration took place on the border of the historic Black community of Lincoln Heights, the first Black self-governing town to form above the Mason-Dixon line, America's dividing line between the North and South. To Black residents, this location was no coincidence.
It is very clear. There's no way around it. This was an act of violence. We must not push that under the rug. It is not by chance that this happened in this community at this time.
The Jewish Federation of Cincinnati saying in part, "We will not be intimidated. We urge all citizens of Cincinnati to stand with us in rejecting hate and building a community where all people can live without fear or intimidation."
So, okay, it's good that the Jewish people stood up and spoke about this. That's very important. But like just knowing that it is very you know, in close proximity to a predominantly Black area, town and stuff like that, is definitely speaking to. I understand what they're going for there, because like I know like a lot of what you hear. Yeah, I definitely understand what happened here. So basically, there's individuals that are living in Black communities. I'm sorry, there are white individuals that live in Black communities that are simply tired of what's happening there in their communities. You know what I mean? And there's a long history. There's a lot of reasons why Black communities are, you know, not as aren't as high quality and stuff like that. And there's a lot of like going on within the mindset of the Black youth, especially. Like it's a lot of civil unrest, and there's a lot to be worked on. Like, don't get me wrong, but all of these conversations need to be had with a lot of empathy and a lot of understanding of history. And there's a significant population of those individuals, those white individuals that are unhappy with their living conditions. They don't have the empathy. They don't have that understanding. So they will lean on a lot of right wing propagandists, a lot of nonsense rhetoric, and a lot of rhetoric that is void of understanding and empathy. You know, and when that happens, they will turn to these Hitler sympathizers, these Nazi sympathizers. You know what I mean? As far as a brotherhood, you know, and they would say like, that this is the neighborhood, this is what they do, and this is what they did to my town. They tore it apart, so we gotta reinstate good old white supremacy. All of this nonsense. Okay, that's how this stuff builds. That's how this stuff happens. So when they create this type of a scene on the highway, these neo-Nazis, when they create this sort of a scene on the highway, they are trying to find those individuals, those white individuals that are also sick and tired of what happened to their neighborhoods and stuff like that, without the understanding of why it happened, you know. And when they wave that flag, and they're trying to find more of their brothers. They're trying to find as many people as possible to join in their collective struggle, their collective it's a rebellion, if you will. That's what I think this is. It is a call to action. So let's just watch the rest of this.
Anger boiling over as residents reel from those blatant images and words of hate.
It cannot be legal to stand in the middle of the street and stop my truck and call me that word.
But remain determined. The Reverend and dozens of other community members marching to the overpass to show that hate has no home here.
We wanted to go to that spot to make it clear that we are resolute, that we are not afraid, that hate will not win here, that love will triumph.
Antonia Hilton joins us now. So, Antonia, we heard there in your report, no arrests were made. But what happens to this community? I mean, are they going to have to keep seeing these hateful protests right there in front of their face?
They'll be living with this for some time, Tom. Look, what they've been told by law enforcement is that a full investigation is going to be completed. And what typically happens in these cases is officers are going to have to go out, find people who might have dash cam video, who are driving by, neighbors who have Ring cameras, who saw the U-Haul pass through, for example. That can take some time. They'll have to review all of that and see if any crimes were committed. But of course, part of the challenge here, right, is as days go by, the pain is very much still there. Trust can be lost. And that is what the pastor is worried about right now, Tom.
Okay.
I guess I'm not the easiest person to please. I like.
Oops, wrong button. Okay, so yeah, that's so like I said, look, I'm gonna start by saying this. Big ups to those in North Cincinnati for standing on business, standing on code, you know, doing what's necessary for their community. What I've also heard about the situation is these people. These people went so far as to create checkpoints. Create checkpoints throughout that area to make sure that that these people were not in there and were flushed out of the area. You know what I mean? That they weren't coming back. I don't know the details or exactly how they went about enforcing the checkpoint. I know they were armed, and I think that is again necessary because if these Nazis were armed, then I think the people that are enforcing this collective this community mindset of Nazis gotta go, they should be armed as well. So. For the most part, yeah. This is, I think, the most important thing that we should all be talking about in this type of a conversation is this needs to be the example for the rest of us. You know, if there's Nazis in your area, what they did in North Cincinnati should be like the textbook example of how to handle this type of a situation. There was no significant bloodshed. None of the good people, the actual good people, none of them went to jail. All of those things. So like they did it legally, they did it clean, and they instilled fear into these peoples. Because like I think one of the big things another big thing to talk about is those Nazis, those Nazi sympathizers. They also understand that they are outnumbered. There's just not as many of them as it is like regular, normal freaking people. You know what I mean? And if we keep it that way, if we keep the essential Overton window as normalcy and then not see bad, you know what I mean? Then we can keep that. That will also like lead to the culture understanding and that this Nazi thing is to be scrutinized and to be, essentially kept out of our spaces. You know what I mean? It like this stuff. Let's just keep that ideology as weird so that it doesn't evolve or create some sort of a generation in the future where people are actually not just sympathize with these types of people or with that group, but will also feel vindicated to join and commit to action that could strongly impact those that don't sympathize with Nazis. You know what I mean? I think the last thing Americans need is that level of fascism, right? in our great nation. So, with that said, man, I've been hard thinking of the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast, and this has been the Corner Show, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Okay, so all right. That's my last segment of this show. I appreciate y'all sliding on me. I appreciate everybody that's still with me and all that good stuff. I will be taking a brief break. I need to give me something to eat, and then I want to start reading these Trump executive orders. I want to get through as many as I can now, and I'm gonna get through some more of them tomorrow. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to read all of them. It's about 67 of them. They're not that long, really. So I don't think it's gonna be that bad. But regardless, though, again, I appreciate y'all sliding on me, and I will be coming out. I will be chopping these up and creating smaller, more digestible videos later on throughout the week. I think them. I don't want to. There was something else in my mind. Ooh, I hate it when I have something on my mind that slips through. I guess I'll have to remember it later. Anyway, like I said, again, I appreciate y'all sliding on me. I'll have more videos coming out later on. I have again tomorrow. I'll be debuting my conversation with mediocre tutorials and reviews. We actually have a conversation about victimhood mentality and in relation to race relations. And also the race-centric mindset, especially from what I'm doing here. So it was a pretty lively conversation. I think a lot of people will find it interesting. But other than that, I don't know. We're gonna keep grinding. We're gonna keep doing what we're doing here on the Chicago Black Delegation Podcast. And y'all enjoy the rest of y'all nights, y'all weekend, and Black History Month. Peace. So much love to you.